Marijuana. You have heard no doubt many claims about marijuana, some for, some against, some true, some false. Perhaps no other drug is more frequently tried or has as many misconceptions and superstitions surrounding it as marijuana does. What is marijuana? Marijuana, or cannabis, as it's sometimes called, is a plant. The leaves and flower tops of the marijuana plant contain a resin which can produce mind-altering effects. This resin contains a substance which scientists call tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC. The more THC in the plant, the stronger the effects it can produce. Is all marijuana the same? No. Marijuana plants vary in the amount of THC they contain. Female plants have a lot more than male plants, and plants grown in Asia and Africa have a lot more THC than those grown in North America. Since most of the marijuana purchased in the United States is grown in Mexico, it is generally much weaker than the marijuana found in such places as Vietnam, India, or Africa. What is grass? Well, grass is one nickname for marijuana. Marijuana also is called pot, tea, weed, stuff, Mary Jane, or dope. Sometimes there are special names for marijuana grown in special areas, such as Acapulco Gold or Panama Red. What is hashish, or hash? Hash is the pure resin extract of the marijuana plant. It usually comes in the form of a dark brown lump or chunk. Since there is a higher concentration of THC in hash, it is stronger than marijuana. Small chunks are broken off and usually smoked in a pipe. How do people get marijuana? After the marijuana plant is fully grown, sometimes as tall as 15 feet, it's harvested. The leaves, stems, and seeds are compressed together in kilos, sometimes called keys or bricks. A kilo is about the same size and shape as a cement brick and weighs about 2 pounds. After being smuggled into the United States across the Mexican border, kilos are sold and distributed by dealers. Each kilo is broken up into lids, plastic bags containing about an ounce of marijuana, which pushers then sell or distribute socially to the individual user. In turn, the marijuana usually is rolled into cigarettes called joints, sticks, or reefers. How much does marijuana cost? The price of marijuana varies according to how strong it is and how available it is. If there is very little marijuana in a given area, then that area is said to be dry, and the price of marijuana will be more expensive than usual. The general price of a kilo today is from $150 to $300. Lids sell for $10 to $20, and joints cost around 25 to 50 cents. How do you take marijuana? Marijuana appears as greenish tobacco and usually is smoked, either in a joint or a pipe. It's sometimes cooked into food and eaten, but this is rare. The smoke is inhaled deep into the lungs and held for a while in order for the drug to take effect. Does it hurt to smoke marijuana? Sometimes. Marijuana smoke is usually quite harsh and often burns the throat when it's inhaled. How much marijuana does one smoke to get high? Well, this, of course, depends on the strength of the marijuana. It can vary from 2 puffs or hits all the way up to 3 or 4 joints. What's it like to be high on marijuana? Perhaps the best way to explain what happens is to let you hear what potheads or heavy users have experienced.
Well, when I get stoned on marijuana, I feel real relaxed. I just sit around and take everything in. Or maybe I'll notice something, like a poster. I'll just stare at it for a long time. Or when I'm stoned, I think of all kinds of things. But whenever I try to write them down, I suddenly forget what I was thinking about.
Another person.
Smoking marijuana just gave me a headache. It wasn't any fun at all. It made me drowsy and made me want to go to sleep. It just made me feel real heavy all over, like I couldn't move. I didn't like the feeling, so I don't smoke it anymore at all.
Another person said,
Well, marijuana seems to make me laugh. I mean, everything seems funny to me when I'm high.
This from another user.
When I smoked grass, I would listen to music, because music sounds better when you're high. I never drove a car or anything like that, because grass always makes me feel really clumsy and slow. Grass seems to make me appreciate things more, but it also kind of wasted my mind. I mean, I couldn't seem to think clearly when I was high.
And this testimony.
If I feel good before I smoke grass, then the grass makes me feel even better. But if I feel bad, then the grass makes me feel even worse. I only smoke when I know that I won't have to talk with anyone straight. It's really difficult to talk when you're stoned because your mind wanders and you forget what you're saying.
So you see, the hallucinating effects of marijuana vary from person to person. Reactions to marijuana may be pleasurable or unpleasant, or you may feel nothing at all. How long does a marijuana high last? A marijuana high generally lasts for 2 to 3 hours. Do you get a hangover from marijuana? No, there is rarely a hangover the following day. However, sometimes it may take an extra 2 or 3 hours after coming down from marijuana before you can think clearly again. Some people say they get headaches when they come down off marijuana. Can you become hooked or addicted to marijuana? Marijuana is not addictive like heroin or other drugs are. No physical craving develops for the drug, and no withdrawal symptoms appear when its use is stopped. However, marijuana can be habit-forming, with chronic users becoming psychologically dependent on it, and this can be a serious matter. Does marijuana lead to heroin? Scientific studies have shown that most people who smoke marijuana do not go on to take heroin. However, most experts estimate that 80% of all heroin addicts started on marijuana. Why do people smoke marijuana? Well, marijuana is used for a variety of reasons. Some smoke it because they're curious about what will happen. Others smoke it because they enjoy the euphoric feeling. Some smoke marijuana because they think it's the cool thing to do or because the in crowd does it. Some people try to escape the pressure and problems of life by smoking marijuana, only to find the problems still are there when the effects wear off. Can marijuana harm you? In the past, claims were made that marijuana caused people to go insane, to murder and commit crimes of violence. Such incorrect theories were started and perpetuated by well-meaning people who believed they could prevent the use of marijuana with frightening stories. However, just because there is no positive proof that marijuana is physically harmful does not mean that it is harmless. Think about how long cigarettes had been around before medical scientists discovered their close link with cancer. What new disease or damage caused by marijuana will be discovered in the future? No one knows, but who wants to take the chance to find out the hard way? Why should a person not smoke marijuana? After you eliminate all the myths and scare stories surrounding marijuana, there still remain 3 strong and valid reasons why you should not smoke it. First, smoking marijuana is against the law. Imagine how your parents would feel if they found out that you were arrested for smoking marijuana. Imagine what it would be like to leave all your friends and family and be forced to remain in a juvenile detention center. Now, ask yourself if smoking marijuana is worth taking this chance. Second, it is possible that marijuana is being spiked with a substance called PCP. PCP, or angel dust, as it is sometimes called, is a very dangerous chemical, usually used in animal tranquilizers. Many dealers have begun adding PCP to marijuana in order to make it stronger. The following is a true story about a student who mistakenly smoked marijuana laced with PCP, thinking that it was just marijuana. After he smoked the mixture, he began to experience loss of his sense of time, and his home surroundings seemed unfamiliar. He began to talk irrationally and was intensely suspicious of everyone around him. He began to talk of being God and became intensely disorganized in speech. These symptoms did not leave him for 5 days. He was finally taken to a mental hospital, where he attempted to commit suicide by slashing his wrist. The frightening thing about PCP is that you cannot tell if the marijuana has been poisoned with it. It's just another chance you're taking whenever you smoke marijuana. Third, many people who have been regular marijuana smokers have quit smoking it. They report that marijuana was making them too passive and dependent. They felt they were losing their ambition and desire to succeed in what they were doing, that they did not have the energy and the drive to accomplish the things they wanted to do. One ex-marijuana smoker put it this way: "Yeah, I used to get stoned a lot and enjoyed it, and I thought it was cool. But you know, after a while, the effects seemed to wear off. Instead of getting high, I would just fall asleep, and I never seemed to be able to get anything done. Man, there were so many things I missed doing because I was wasting my time smoking grass, like I'm trying to put down now, and start doing things I should have done before. It's weird, but I feel like there's kind of a big hole in my life." Whether or not this individual will ultimately fill this void in his life is hard to say. The smart thing to do is not to create this void in the first place.